Welcome to Life Stories. What if the people you love the most were the ones holding you back? What if every sacrifice you made, every ounce of your energy, your savings, your dreams, was taken for granted? Emily thought she was doing the right thing by helping her family. But one phone call, one moment of realization, changed everything. In a world where loyalty is expected and love is used as a currency, how far would you go before saying enough? Tonight's story is about breaking free. It's about finally choosing yourself, even when it feels like you're betraying the ones you've always protected. Emily thought she knew what it meant to be a good daughter, a good sister, until the cost became too high. Let's dive into her journey and see where it leads. The sun was just beginning to dip beneath the horizon as Emily sat by her small kitchen table, the quiet hum of the city outside barely reaching her ears. The only sound in the apartment was the faint click of her laptop keys as she typed out another list, another plan. Her mind had become a web of numbers, reminders, and what-ifs. She paused, glancing at the screen in front of her. The numbers didn't lie. Years of working double shifts, scrimping and saving, and turning down every vacation, every day off. All for what? To watch Chloe, her younger sister, destroy everything Emily had worked so hard to build. A sudden, sharp pain shot through her chest. Chloe's latest call had come just hours before, the desperation in her voice still ringing in Emily's ears. Another overdraft. Another $300 she couldn't afford to lose. Another lie wrapped in a desperate plea for help. Please, Em, just this one last time. I'll pay you back. I swear. But Emily knew the truth. She'd heard it all before. There was always an excuse, always a promise, but no follow-through. Chloe never paid her back. Chloe never changed. The exhaustion of it all was starting to take its toll. Emily had spent the last few years sacrificing her own dreams for the sake of her family. Her own savings, her future, her peace of mind, all drained to fix Chloe's messes, to plug the holes in a life that Chloe seemed determined to sink. Yet, Emily couldn't help herself. She loved her sister. Loved her too much, maybe. That's what kept her going back again and again. That's what had made her the one who picked up the phone when no one else would, who bailed Chloe out every single time. But as she sat there in the silence of her apartment, Emily realized something she hadn't dared to admit before. She was tired. Tired of being the fixer, the responsible one, the one who carried the weight of everyone else's mistakes. She was tired of being the person everyone turned to, but no one saw. Her phone buzzed and her heart sank. Chloe. Again. I really need you, Em. The message read. Please. For a moment, Emily just stared at it, her fingers hovering over the screen. She'd always been the one to step in, the one to save the day. But this time was different. She didn't know why, but something inside her snapped. Maybe it was the countless nights spent in the same apartment, watching her savings dwindle. Maybe it was the nagging feeling that, despite all her sacrifices, no one would ever appreciate her, let alone help her. Without a second thought, Emily deleted the message. She didn't respond. She just sat there, breathing, feeling a strange weight lift off her shoulders. The world didn't collapse. The sky didn't fall. But then came the call from her mother. That same voice, casual but laced with an unspoken urgency. Emily could hear the faint echo of her father in the background, his voice just as strained. It wasn't good. Emily's stomach dropped as her mother explained, again, the financial mess Chloe had gotten herself into. The details didn't matter. What mattered was that, once again, Emily was expected to fix it. Emily, honey, her mother said, voice cracking slightly, your father and I are so worried about Chloe. She needs you right now, more than ever. You know how she is, how hard she tries, but just keeps messing up. We really need you to be there for her. The words felt like a slap. How many times had Emily been there for Chloe? How many times had she bailed her out of trouble, only for Chloe to make the same mistakes again? Emily gripped her phone tighter. I'm not doing this anymore, she whispered to herself. Her chest tightened as the familiar guilt crept in. But something inside her stirred. Something stronger than the guilt, something unfamiliar but real. Anger, maybe? Or perhaps it was simply the exhaustion of years spent keeping everyone afloat while she drowned in silence. Her mind raced back to the numbers on her laptop. $45,000 in savings, the down payment she'd been working towards for years. That money wasn't just money to her. It was freedom. The dream of owning a place where no one could knock on her door asking for help, a life outside of the suffocating grip of family expectations. But her mother didn't see it that way. For her, family came first. Always. Emily had always been the reliable one, the one who got things done. It was Emily who had paid off their second mortgage when Chloe's credit card debt had nearly sunk the whole family. And now they wanted her to help again. Another $3,000 for Chloe's latest disaster. As Emily sat in the quiet of her apartment, the weight of it all pressing down on her, she realized something else. She couldn't do this anymore. For the first time, she understood that it wasn't about helping Chloe or even about the money. It was about what she was willing to sacrifice for the people she loved. Could she keep giving until there was nothing left of herself? Or was it time to choose herself for once? With trembling hands, Emily picked up her phone, her fingers hovering over the contact list. She was so close to calling Chloe, to telling her she was done. But before she could press the dial button, something caught her eye. An ad on the side of her screen, something she had never noticed before. Freedom starts with letting go. Emily froze, staring at the words. Something about them felt like a sign. With a deep breath, she made a decision. She didn't call Chloe. She didn't call her mother. Instead, she closed her laptop and pulled out a piece of paper. She started writing a letter, one to herself. A letter that would remind her of her worth, of the freedom she had earned, and the peace she deserved. And then, as the sun sank below the skyline outside her window, she made a choice. She would no longer be the one who saved everyone else at the cost of her own happiness. For once, it was her turn to choose her own future. Do you think Emily made the right choice? How much are we really responsible for when it comes to family? What would you do if you were in Emily's shoes? Keep giving, or finally say enough is enough? The room felt empty, but Emily was no longer afraid. She was free. And with that thought, she opened her email to make the first step toward her future and left the past behind. The next morning, Emily sat at her kitchen table, the early sunlight creeping through the blinds and casting long shadows across the room. The decision she'd made the night before still hung in the air, like a secret she was trying to breathe in. She had sent the letter to herself, packed up the memories she'd been holding on to for years, and told her family she was done. She was free. But the peace she had hoped for didn't come. Instead, she felt an overwhelming emptiness, like the quiet of the apartment had swallowed her whole. Her phone buzzed, and her stomach tightened as she glanced at the screen. It was a text from her mother. "Can we talk? Please. Your father is in the hospital. It's serious." Emily's heart skipped a beat. She hadn't expected this. Not today. Not like this. She quickly texted back, her fingers shaking. "What happened?" "It's his blood pressure. He's very stressed. Please, Emily, we need you." She stared at the screen, the words blurring as her vision clouded. For a moment, she felt like she was back in the same place she had been for years, caught in the same emotional trap that had always kept her tethered to her family. She couldn't help it. She couldn't just walk away. And yet, as she thought about what had happened the night before, her decision began to feel heavier. She couldn't go back to being the person who sacrificed her own happiness for the sake of everyone else. But could she really just leave them to handle it all on their own? A part of her, the one that had spent years making sure they were okay, screamed at her to go, to fix it, to make sure her father was fine and her mother wasn't alone. But then another thought entered her mind. Something darker, something she hadn't let herself feel until now. What if this was the moment when I finally let them face the consequences of their actions? Her phone buzzed again. This time it was from Chloe. "I need you, Em. Please, I'm scared. Mom and Dad are falling apart. Please, just help me one last time. I can't do this on my own. You're the only one who can save us." The words hit her like a punch to the gut. For a moment, Emily was frozen. She couldn't breathe. Her vision tunneled as her mind replayed the last few years. The phone calls at 2 a.m., the lies, the constant financial bailouts, the never-ending stream of excuses. She had been there for Chloe more times than she could count. Every time her sister hit rock bottom, Emily was the one who picked her up. Every time Chloe failed, it was Emily who stepped in to fix it. But now, for the first time, Emily understood something that had always eluded her. Chloe wasn't just asking for help. Chloe was demanding it. She had come to expect it, to believe that Emily would always be there, no matter how much it cost her. The words on the screen began to blur again as Emily stood up, pacing back and forth in her tiny apartment. Her chest tightened with a mix of anger and guilt. Her parents, her sister, they had all taken so much from her. They drained her of everything she had, emotionally, financially, mentally. And in return, what had she gotten? The belief that she was nothing more than a safety net. Her phone buzzed again, and this time it was a call from her father. She didn't answer. She couldn't. Not yet. Instead, she sat back down, her hands trembling as she pulled up her email and clicked open the letter she had written to herself the night before. She read through it, each word a reminder of why she had made her decision. But now, as the reality of her family's collapse loomed before her, she wasn't so sure. Could she really just walk away? Was she strong enough to do it? To leave behind the family she'd spent her whole life trying to save? What would happen if she didn't? The doorbell rang, sharp and sudden, pulling her from her thoughts. She glanced at the clock. It was too early for anyone to be visiting. She walked to the door, her heart pounding, and opened it. Standing there on her doorstep was her mother, tears in her eyes and her face pale. "Emily, please," her mother's voice cracked. "Your father's not doing well. You need to come home. We need you. This isn't about Chloe anymore. This is about us. We've always been there for you. Don't turn your back on your family now." The weight of her mother's words hit her harder than she expected. For a moment, she felt that familiar pull, the desire to make it all better. But as she looked into her mother's eyes, something inside her clicked. She wasn't going to save them anymore. She couldn't. Not if it meant losing herself in the process. "Mom," Emily said, her voice steady but filled with pain. "I can't keep doing this. I'm not the one who's supposed to carry all of you anymore. You have to face what you've done." Her mother stared at her, disbelief flashing in her eyes. "What do you mean, face what we've done?" Emily took a deep breath, her hands shaking as she spoke the words she'd never thought she'd say. "You've taken everything from me. My time, my money, my dreams. And for what? So you could keep enabling Chloe's messes? No more. I'm done." Her mother's face crumpled and hurt, and Emily felt a pang of guilt that almost made her back down. Almost. But then she remembered the years of sacrifice, the years of silence. This was the hardest thing she'd ever done, but it was the only thing she could do. Her mother opened her mouth to speak, but Emily stopped her. "I'm not coming back, Mom. Not this time." And with that, Emily closed the door. She stood there for a moment, breathing heavily, feeling the weight of everything she had just done. Her phone buzzed again, but this time, she didn't check it. For the first time, she realized that no matter what happened next, she had made her choice. She had chosen herself. Do you think Emily did the right thing by turning away from her family? Can anyone truly walk away from those they love, even when it feels like they've been draining you for years? As Emily stood in the silence of her apartment, the weight of her decision sinking in, she knew one thing for sure. Her life was about to change. And as she picked up her phone to make the call to her lawyer, she wondered just how far she was willing to go to protect her newfound freedom. Emily stared at the now quiet apartment, the sound of her mother's pleading voice still ringing in her ears. She could still feel the heaviness of the words she had just spoken to her, words that had felt like a release, a breaking point in their relationship. But as the door shut and the silence settled around her, a sense of finality washed over her. She had made her decision, but the weight of it lingered. Her phone buzzed again, But this time, she didn't rush to check it. Instead, she sank down into the worn chair in the corner of the room, her mind running over the events of the past few days. She'd told her family she was done. She had made her stand. She was free. At least, that's what she kept telling herself. But freedom didn't feel like she thought it would. It wasn't the weightless relief she imagined. It wasn't the victory she'd hoped for. It was the silence. The deep, echoing emptiness of a life now lived without the constant barrage of family crises. Emily ran her hand over her face, her fingers brushing the edges of a new life she had only just begun to carve out for herself. She'd already set the wheels in motion. New apartment, new bank account, new job, new everything. And yet, here she was, unsure of how to fill the space she'd created for herself. Then, just as the doubt began to creep in, the phone buzzed again. This time, it was Chloe. Emily hesitated before swiping to open the message. It was a voice note. Her finger lingered over the screen for a moment longer before she pressed play. Em, please. I can't. I don't know what to do anymore. I messed everything up again. I don't know how to fix it. I don't have anyone else. The words tumbled out, thick with regret, her sister's voice trembling. Emily closed her eyes for a moment, letting the pain of it all wash over her. Chloe's voice was so familiar, but it was different now. There was no anger, no pleading for money, no demands. Just raw, unfiltered despair. For a moment, Emily felt the stirrings of something deep within her, the old instinct to protect, to shield Chloe from the consequences of her actions. It had always been this way, hadn't it? Always Emily, the responsible one, the one who made everything okay. She could hear her sister's cry for help echoing in her mind, and it almost felt impossible to ignore. But then, as the silence stretched between them, Emily remembered. She remembered all the time she had sacrificed for Chloe, money, time, dreams, only to be met with the same broken promises, the same excuses. She had given everything, and Chloe had taken it all. What was left for her? What had she left for herself? Emily paused the message and took a deep breath, the weight of the decision pressing down on her chest. She wasn't going back to the way things had been. Not this time. The phone buzzed again, but this time it was a text from her mother. I need to talk to you. Please, don't shut us out. Your father's not getting better. You're our only hope. I'm sorry, Emily. I know we've messed up, but you're all we have left. Emily's heart clenched at the words. Her father, her mother, they had never asked for anything except for Emily to keep everything together. But at what cost? She could feel the familiar pull, the guilt rising in her chest, but it was different now. She wasn't that girl anymore. She wasn't going to be their safety net, not when it meant losing herself in the process. A surge of emotion rose within her, a mix of anger, sadness, and something else she hadn't expected. Relief. The thought of finally letting go, of letting them face the consequences of their actions, felt right. It wasn't easy. It wasn't what she had imagined, but it was necessary. Emily sat up straighter, her hands steady now. She opened the text from her mother, and for the first time she typed back without hesitation. I'm sorry, but I can't be your savior anymore. I can't fix everything. You have to face this on your own. I've done all I can. The words were final. She didn't look back. She set the phone down on the table and stood up, walking toward the small window in her apartment. The world outside was busy, full of life, full of movement. People were living their lives, working, laughing, moving forward. And for the first time, Emily felt like she was part of that world. A world where she was allowed to exist, where she was allowed to choose her own path, free from the weight of other people's expectations. The phone buzzed once more. It was from Chloe again. This time, Emily didn't hesitate. She opened the message. I get it now, Em. I'm sorry, I've ruined everything, and I never appreciated what you did for me. I don't expect you to fix it anymore. I just wanted you to know I love you, and I'm going to try to fix this for real. No more asking for help. Emily felt her throat tighten. She closed her eyes, letting the weight of Chloe's words settle over her. It was the first time her sister had ever admitted it, admitted that she had been wrong, that she had hurt Emily. That was the first step, wasn't it? the first real step toward change. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that was all Emily needed. She put the phone down, took a deep breath, and turned back to the window, watching the sunset over the city. It felt like a new beginning, her new beginning. And for the first time in a long time, Emily smiled. A real smile. Not the one she had given to everyone else, but the one she could finally give to herself. What would you do if you had to choose between family and your own happiness? Could you walk away from the ones you love for your own peace? If you felt connected to Emily's journey, comment 100 to show your support. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. Feel free to share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching the Life Stories channel.